Welcome back to Doc Shows You How. This time we're doing the actual tutorial on these billboards. It's going to be a long one. Stay tuned. Alright folks, you asked for it, here it is. My take on billboards. Billboards are going to be good for modern day stuff, so all your superhero, your Crisis Point, those things. It's going to be great for Necromunda, it's going to be great for Warhammer. It's going to be a good background piece for things like Gaslands, and if you do miniature dioramas in the kind of Warhammer scale, this is going to be good for that. So I'm going to go ahead and clear these away and get started. So as the title says, medicine bottle. So you're going to need a medicine bottle. I happen to have received my pills in the last little bit in a few different varying sizes. If you don't take medication, I'm certain that you know somebody who does. This one is pretty freaking big. This one is, what's that? 6 inches? That's what she said. 6 inches on that one. And then, you've got, that one looks like it's 4. And that one, 3. And then this one is closer to that 2.5. And then thoughts previously had been to take whatever small piece of terrain, and then you put the billboard on it, and then together that gives you a much more interesting textural thing. So on all of them I like to do something that's like an implied function, like here's a switch of some sort, right? And because I really do enjoy the idea of recycling as much as possible, I'm going to take soda lids, just regular soda lids, and we're going to make them fit along here. Now, one thing I enjoy just doing is, this is a big chunky thing already, right? Rather than cutting it off or hiding it in some particular way, let's just use it and glue something right there on top of it so it looks like it's being held to some degree. Now, one thing that you can do is to get yourself a piece of sandpaper. This is a very fine sandpaper. You're going to want something with a much better grit than this, but this will get the point across. You kind of just wrap that on there and take the lid and just go back and forth and back and forth. And just keep a consistent thing on there, and eventually you'll grind that down so that it fits. Now, I did that before. Yeah, that's the one. So, yeah. Now, glues don't like those things that are too smooth, and this is very smooth right now. So we're going to take this, and the super fine one's good enough. And again, we're just going to glue right. I must have used that to paint something before. Alright, so we're just going to put, actually no, let's use the capillary effect. Get that in place. Again, right where you want it, like it's being held. And we're just going to put it right here at the top. So, paper straws, they're a little bit smaller than regular straws. They give you a little bit smaller diameter. You see that? Okay. And then barbecue skewers. Now, in an effort to keep this technique simple and easy to follow, we're just going to do this without having to measure a whole lot. So, go ahead and take your barbecue skewer, a little bit of sandpaper, just rough it up a little bit. And then we're just going to start with the big guy here. We're just going to, more or less, line it up nice and tight with that piece so it looks like it's coming out of it, and we'll hold that in place and run a bead on that. A little bit of baking soda, right? And then we're going to grab some snips and just flush with that. And then this one, I'm just going to kind of go through now and do the same thing. Now with paper straws, rather than the snips. Just going to get that trimmed up. And the top of these can be a little ugly because at the end of the day, that's going to be covered by the platform for the billboard. I do want to show you. I'm just going to take a metal ruler here, and then I'm going to take an office clamp. I'm going to just clamp it to the bench. Now I'm doing it over here out of where you don't see it, but that's now not going to move. By pinning the metal ruler to the table with the clamp, now I can set up this jig. That's what it's called when it's a temporary thing to just get the job done, as a jig. And then I'm going to want a bunch of these for the banding on these bars. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut a bunch of those. And then we're going to take these and we're going to do the banding. So I like to take and run one band right out from the cap all the way around, and then we see we can just trim off a little bit there and glue that one in. Now, just to help a little bit, I like to take this piece now and just shape it a little bit. And that's just sort of a Sharpie thing. But now it's got a little bit of an edge. And we can take and put you know, I just glued the one side to start with, and that gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And now that I've got that all lined up, I'm happy with that. We just go through with that capillary effect in. Use thin enough glue, and that's your friend. Take the rest of that same piece and go up a little higher. This time we're not going to tuck it under. You see how that just, we're going to take out that crimps, and you got a nice solid crease in it. Then you know exactly where you need to cut. And then that'll get you your perfect little piece on there. And then you glue that too. You can see pretty quickly, they start looking less like a medicine bottle and more like some sort of tech. And then the advertising itself, the artwork that makes it worthwhile. So I get it a bunch of places. So here's just some very quick examples. Here was some advertising postcard. I like that kind of classic Tibet looking thing. Some little magazines that I have locally have some interesting art. This guy, it's got some great ones here that I like quite a bit. A couple of them back there, but very graphic. Like the one even says Blink 182, so I kind of like that, Wu-Tang, what have you. Of course, one resource we have is, of course, going online and just doing a Google search. There are artists out there that make these available for you for free. Others will want you to pay. I like just doing a quick search for like the names of companies and shows, like NCON. If you know what that's from, go ahead and tell me. I do love grabbing any kind of wanted poster, recruiting poster also. So here's a couple of advertisements. So that's Good to Eve. That's almost exactly one of the posters in Anakin's apartment as he's grown up as a Jedi. You know, Twi'leks. There's the same Fifth Element one I used before. I really like that one. I might use it again. Otherwise, a good source, I like using business cards. They're graphic. They've done a lot of the work for you. Either way, billboards do a bunch of different sizes and shapes and whatnot, right? So I don't know if these folks are any good personally. This is a beautiful card I was able to come across. And then magazines. Magazines give you a wonderful source for some things, like all these smaller heavy metal covers. Those might make great for like posters on something. Old books. This is an old college book of mine that has got some fantastic images in there that I might go through and grab a couple of things from. So go through and find the pictures you like to use. So after you made your selection, you need to go through and process now. So here's the ones at least made the cut this far. Maybe I'll save him for later. Maybe they'll all up on a billboard, maybe not. Anyway, so the next step is some foam core board. We're just going to take this stuff, some stick glue, and put them down. Now, look, that's for my unboxing video. If you enjoy unboxing videos, I've started doing some toy reviews, and I'm having fun doing them. Maybe if you enjoy my other videos, you'll enjoy that too. So, just like that, we're going to go through and mount all of them. Alright, there we go. Here's the ones on card. Like, there you go. They've got some thickness, a little bit of support. They look pretty good. This actually turned out pretty nice. There's no weird wrinkling on these. Like, I've certainly had some weird wrinkling on using, like, Elmer's glue and PVA. So next, what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to clad all that foam edge. And so we're going to have a word about glue. Some super glues will just eat that foam, and that's no good. Then you have a void, and it's weird and weak. PVA will be just fine. Might take a little bit of time there, but ultimately for speed and hold, hot glue is just fine for this stuff. Now, you could do just like we did here for the banding and use cardstock. That's what we learned from Wylock. In this case, I want these to be just a little bit stronger, so I am actually going to use coffee stir stick. Now, these are pretty inexpensive to pick up as a crafting material. They are $1 or $2 for a big old bag of them. And then, because you're going to put some stuff on the back, you can go ahead and line that up just barely, just the teeniest little bit above flush there. I'm going to use that a little bit more in the back. We're going to glue some things in the back there, and that'll tighten that all up. And then we just get a good pair of snips. These are my heavy-duty craft scissors. And let's see if I can shoot that trooper. Nope. And then you just follow suit, go all the way around. I think that, so here's some just regular craft sticks. I mean, we could do this across there, trim that to a square edge on each side and get that in place, or we could just do across there, so whichever. In the interest of keeping it nice and simple, I kind of think I'm just going to do a bunch of straight across there. Alright, so these all have some supports on the back, more or less simple, straightforward. This one, being that it's going to be on the taller one, I figured that I would do the more beefy. So I got these 4 that are going to be vertical supports, so just kind of get those glued in place, right? We need to start building the platform parts. So I think that the jumbo craft sticks, and we'll just glue those down and true up those edges. Okay, so this now, we've got a little foot, and these all stand. And then on this one, I do want to point out, like, that wasn't a totally even cut, and that's okay, because those things happen. And by the end of the build, this isn't, you're not going to be looking at that anyway, really. And I feel like it's more important to just kind of keep moving forward and enjoy the build and get too hung up on getting every little piece exactly right. So the next bit is going to be determining your footprint. of pieces, of course, and embroidery mesh. So a couple of things about embroidery mesh. It is not the easiest thing to glue to. Sometimes there's fine, really fine little hair plastic in between where it might not have been the best cast of it. So one thing that you can do for that little hair problem in here is super quickly just take your lighter and just run it through. And any little light plasticky pieces that didn't come out well in the process will be melted back and it'll be done. So, which in this case is 2.5 or so. So we're going to cut out that and then various sizes for the other pieces. Clean that little bit of dust off with alcohol. This preps the whole thing for gluing the best possible scenario. Because like I said, this embroidery mesh, or maybe you've been in the hobby a while, you've heard it called granny grading. It's just not the easiest thing to glue, so I want to give it every possibility. Alright, so that's more or less even now. Okay, and that's had a chance to dry, so I'm going to clear the table a little bit. Alright, so if that's too rough for your liking, you don't think that's even enough, you can take a heavy embroidery board, or emery board, and just smooth that down there. It still holds just fine. But now you see we've got a spot we can put a guide. Now, I want to frame that out just a little bit more, and we did just trim up a bunch of these, so I'm just going to use the scrap from before and just glue them around, boom, 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 to frame that out, make it more sturdy. I thought I needed a cap piece there. Here on the big one, I want to have it two-sided, so it's going to be more or less the same as what we did here, only it's allowing that same distance on both sides. So this one's going to be the corner piece like the other crow's nest. We're going to take cubes, have these little craft cubes at dollar stores, bag of 100 for $1 something. We're just going to match that nice and flush with that edge and get that glued, one on each piece there. And then just like the others, we'll glue it on edge to edge on that side. I mean, if you wanted to come in a ½ inch on each side, that'd be perfectly acceptable too. But I'm happy enough to just go straight in there like that. Alright, so more or less that's it. Next we're going to take another one of these sticks, and we're going to just cut an angle in the end there. So if you have one of these speed squares, this will help you figure out that angle pretty quickly. And then flip it over, find about the midway on that thickness, mark and trim, and do it again. And then you do another corner piece, and just like a lot of the rest of the framing, you just kind of keep moving through it. And take mark that, cut that, glue that, and then repeat that on the other side. So let's take a look at what that's going to be. So you can decide to put this in the front, back side, whatever. And then I do want it to be more or less in the center, and then just glue that in place. And yeah, again, this can be really anywhere all the way around. It doesn't matter too much. That's just part of the beauty about it. I have looked at a lot of billboards while developing this, and they vary quite a bit. So we're just next thing we're going to work on is going to be the ladder. So this is the trick. It's a cheap toy, like tennis racket. It's got this wonderfully big grid. Now I can't remember if it was Aaron's workshop or Eric's workshop, but one of the guys out there that does videos like this, that's where I learned this is on his channel. If you know which guy I'm talking about, do comment down below, please. Because I've got 3 different billboards that I'm going to do here, I'm just going to go ahead and cut the full length out a few times. One, You can trim this up a little bit more with an X-Acto blade. So don't cut towards you, you hurt yourself. Cut away. And after you've had a chance to trim those bumps off, oh, bump the camera, then we'll take a bit of sandpaper and just make sure that it's nice and clean. And then it will help smooth that just a little bit kind of quickly. You're not looking to light it on fire, make it dark. You just want to help smooth down all that little rough edge real quick. Alright, let's get the other one ready. Alright, so here we go. I think that what we're going to do is we're going to do about half the length. So we'll get that right in between those, right? And then all the way to the ground, it's going to be about midway in that length. That cube. So we're just going to chop that up. And then we're going to figure that out as far as that's about half. Let's just do half. And then we're going to glue that about like so. And then that will give us the impression of a ladder that extends up and down. The regular stir stick or craft stick, we're going to come in here and measure it to where it touches the bottle and the edge there. And then we're going to go ahead and glue those in place as though that's part of the structure holding this all together. And then, you know, just kind of moving right along with this. Here's the Sniper's Nest one. And then with the taller bottle, I figured it was probably appropriate to give it 2 structural supports there. And then in addition to that, with this one, I'm going to take this old hair curler. I haven't seen these brand new in a little while. I got this bag that I'm processing through at a thrift store. I'm going to cut it probably in half, and then in half again I'm going to put a little cage around the top portion to imply it like some sort of safety thing there. So yeah, that's how that's going to look. So I'm just going to glue that in place. Little details on some of the previous ones have these rivets and some other things I use punches for. So we're going to get moving with that. If you see my other episodes, you know that I love using paper craft punches. This one, you see the teeny little dot there. That's how big the punches are. So we're going to take a bit of food grade packaging. This is a cereal box. It's pretty good for that. There's a whole lot of these. I'm going to use lots and lots of these. So, and then use a paint tray today. Just going to open that up and dump all those out. See all those rivets. There's a bunch of rivets. So we're going to take some Glue-Zol, essentially PVA glue or wood glue, and put it in that cup there. So then we're just going to pick up one of the dots, get a little glue on it, and start going around and put them where we want them. Right there. Maybe back here. And just add them literally anywhere you think you need them. Kind of feel like there's almost no such thing as too many. And then if you wanted to maybe throw one somewhere along this too, just imply that it was riveted. Again, all these things are ultimately just to help add more texture and things to grab light and paint later on to make it seem that little bit more realistic. One of the great things about using PVA glue here is you have just a little bit of time to make sure it's centered. Like this one just came off here. Breaking out another one of my favorite punches. This is a little hexagon that's not exactly a full inch. It's awful close. So these are access panels to the inside of the tube that we're going to do for whatever reason you might need. I'm going to roll these a little bit. Just get that little bit of an arc on them. And we're just going to maybe choose a spot further away from that detail we already got there. We'll put it over here, like so. And then we're going to put rivets at every corner. Alright, we're going to get moving on this one a little bit more. There's a few more layers of detail I like to add. Just kind of makes it more intriguing. So we're going to set that back out the way. We're going to take these little building block things, right? And we're going to assemble those into these little cubes. And then those cubes are going to be awful close to crate size. So that'd be a good little thing to hide behind. Yeah, more or less like that. Just put those right in place. I'm going to have them hang over a little bit, that's fine. If they're just a little uneven, that's fine. And then so this is like an improvised little bit of wall that somebody's hauled these crates up there. So I'd like to put some support struts here, just little like triangle or truncated triangle pieces in there. And it looks like that's too long right now, too wide. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this down to maybe just an inch, this whole thing down to 1 inch. Cut up a couple of more strips, that cereal box again, and we're going to just go ahead and glue the longest edge on there, on all of them. This just to kind of help make that a little bit stronger. moving right along. This is a little bit blank to me, so I dug through my scrap stuff and I have this cheapy little checker piece. There's even a crown on that backside, and then this off of a teddy bear eyeball that I used the front on. I think those work well together, and then that right in there. That's very nice. So get that all glued in place. This is an old shoelace. I already cut this in. It's kind of frayed. I'm using a cheap, really cheap, not even full size like pony bead. So we just lace that all the way in here to almost that edge. You see that's already a little frayed. And this is where you lick your fingers real quick and get ready. And then it spreads out a little bit there. And you can make it even better. And then of course, that little bit of extra strength, just glue inside right there. Just experiment with where you want to have that tucked in. Like, is it coming out from over here? Is it coming out from the thing here? Is it coming from the top of this thing somehow? Or maybe over here, just straight out there somehow. Go ahead and decide where you want to put that, and then we'll figure out where we want to do the loopy pieces. But I kind of like that there. That's kind of nice. Yeah, maybe that. I'm going to take another one of those low quality beads. We're going to lace it on, and then play with where you want that first like pig point to be. So it's going to be like up to wherever you put it. And then you're going to loop until you get you another one over here somewhere. So just kind of get your thing going around and get you some extra little like interesting detail going on. So yeah, I think just glue that somewhere in there and just kind of be moving through it. Now, doesn't have to be on all of them. Take or leave any of these details as you want, add more, whatever. I do want to do something else up here though. So I have, because I burned through these little containers, I'm going to take a couple of cut down pieces I have off that top, and I'm going to glue them, one up here, and then one on the bottom there. Just to add that little bit more like something's going on there. Wow, there's all kinds of detail. And I am going to more or less end this video here. If you want to see the paint job, definitely comment down below, give it a thumbs up. I'm going to, of course, do that, but that's the whole build. There's lots of folks that'll teach you how to paint stuff if you don't want to come back for mine, but I would appreciate it if you subscribed, because, you know, those things make a big difference. So the next video will be the paint job and other final detailing on these bad boys. So there you go. Get yourself out there, make some stuff,